really my pleasure to be back with you. I know for the past few weeks we have a chance to share with you some of the what I can see the basic principles of building wealth. And it's really my pleasure again today to present to you workshop number 6, which is kind of like identify what we need to do when it comes to be able to use the right investment vehicle so that we can be able to fulfill our long-term goal. And again, it's for me, it's a continuous to be able to develop the ability to learn and also to implement to help us to secure finance. I think that is the at least the fulfillment part of what we need to do for us is to have a strong fulfillment life. Okay. Besides, of course, just like I shared with you early, we need to be strong physically. We need to be strong, mentally. We need to be strong financially. But at the same time, we have to be also strong spiritually. Right.
With that in mind, can we just word a prayer before we get started with that in mind?
Yes, please.
God, our Father, we thank you so much for being our God. We thank you for this meeting, these series of meetings. We pray that the information that has been downloaded to the hard drive of our mind could be applied in our daily lives. We thank you so much for this firm who has taken out of their time to share with us. But we pray for each listener that you would open up their understanding, that they might see the importance of being financially free. Father, we pray now as we go into this session that you would bless each household that is represented. We pray that you bless our facilitator. And Lord, at the conclusion of our lives, we'll be careful to give you praise, honor, and glory. And all of the children of God collectively said, amen.
Amen.
Amen. And pray the Lord. Let me go ahead and get to the sharing the screen so that we can go with the workshop. So let me do that real quick. All right. Okay. So, all right. Were you able to see it? The whole thing, Nari? No? Let me go ahead. Hold on. Let me go ahead and stop sharing real quick.
It's yeah. You can see it now.
Okay. You see the full pictures of the workshop?
Yes, you can see it.
Thank you. All right. Wonderful. Real quick, a brief disclaimer. The information in this presentation should not be interpreted as accounting, investment, legal, or tax advice. It is not an offer to sell or to solicitate you to buy any security, insurance, or any financial products. Yeah, just like our purposes, you can see clearly is for educational purpose only. And our national campaign for financial literacy is to bring the financial awareness and education to all. And of course, it's about 1 hour time frame for today. So we don't think that we can learn everything during the course of this workshop. However, we hope that you learn and gain more confidence and take action toward to reaching your goals. Being part of our campaign, and we encourage you also to help empower others to do the same. To help us preserve the integrity and the context of information, please do not take any photo, videos, or record this workshop. We appreciate it. All right. So you can see that financial education is not an option, and it's a necessity, and that's why we committed to bring and educated and empowering 30 million family by 2030. That's why you see the logo 3030. And we would like you to be part of the campaign that is revolutionize the financial industry, building a system that bridge financial education and financial independence. And of course, you can see that we always bombard with all kind of information, right? And of course, with the multimedia, YouTube, internet, and Instagram, right? There's plenty of information, but a lot of these financial advice that for people who are not really licenses or without industry experience. And then sometimes even people in the oil industry, right? Well, the oil industry, just like you see that the insurance person only try to sell insurance, but it's not really, be able to also help you on the other financial aspect of finance. Or maybe a financial advisor only focuses on the investment without looking at, what is your protection needs, right? So for us, right, we like to help you to look at the total picture. It's a holistic approach. And our workshop is to educate and to empower you to become your own money manager. Because one, you'll be able to understand, you have a clear knowledge, you will control your finance and you will control your future, right? And for that, I'd like to, again, I go back to what we call the financial foundation, which is, almost every workshop we share with you, because we believe that this is the foundation for us to build a strong financial house. Just like, building a house, you must build it from the ground up. So we talk about proper protection. We talk about debt management. We talk about emergency funds that we need. And today, like, we focus more on the investment, right? So that you can see what is the vehicle or how the actual vehicle that we can implement, right? So that we can make the most out of it, right? And again, growing your wealth, right, is understand how to invest so that making money for you. And that's the key, right? So workshop today, workshop 6, right, we will talk more about how to fulfill our long-term goal. What you will learn. Well, one of the key things, the higher costs for a lot of families, especially we have young children, is the planning for the cost of higher education, right? And of course, pensions, IRA, annuities, and more, or rollover options, and also understanding the tax impact. Right. And once we be able to see clearly of these aspects, we can have a proper plan. So, right, one of the biggest long-term goal, right, is let's look at, remember workshop 1, right? We set up what? Short-term and long-term goal. So, 2 of the biggest and most common long-term goal for a lot of people we saw is college planning for either for ourselves or for our children, and the other is retirement, right? So let's tackle college first, because most will experience, right, college cost before retirement. Will you agree? Okay. So let's take a look. And here is a common question that a lot of people asking on when they come to college planning. What do we want to assume all the responsibility? Right? How much do we want to contribute? Or how much this is and when? What ages we should start? And how much is per month? Is $50 per month is good enough? Or where do we stay? Right? What is available? And how does it fit to our overall strategy? All right. So before we look at the what we need to plan, but look at the rising cost of education. Right? How much do you think college will cost? Especially when at the time that your kid goes to school. Does anybody have a guess? I still remember when I went to college, which is almost about, I would say 45 years ago, right? The cost is very minimum. But now these days, it's outrageous. Would you agree? So let's take a look, right? But before we talk about the cost of education, let shift it a little bit. Do you know how much you need, right, to raise a child until 18 years old? You know how much it costs? It's amazing. Yeah, look at it. The average is $233,000. Yeah, because not only the food, the money we take care of them, but also the lost weight that sometimes we have to stay home, take care of them. And that does not include college. Isn't that amazing? Right? So here, what about sending your child, right, to college or university, right? So let me go ahead and show you what is the average 4-year tuition today in 2020 and expected 18 years from now, how much it will cost. Let me show you. Right now, the public is in-state, it will cost roughly about $42,000. And if we are out of state, it will cost us almost $125,000, right? And for a private, it's about 148. But 18 years from now, it's more than double. Isn't that incredible? The question is again, are we prepared that we have enough money at that time, right? And you can see that college debt, student loan right now reaches almost $1.6 trillion, surpassing the credit cards and also auto debt total. And the average student graduate with diploma right now have roughly about 31,200 on student loans. Wow. So just look at that right now, right? And it is based on the projections of the costs, and you can see the estimate 4-year tuition depend on how many years until your child's need, right, to get to school from now. Let's say if you have a child is 6 years old right now, right, that's mean 12 years from now, when he's 18, right, he will need to go to college. Look at the cost, almost about 80,000 for in-state, right? And then almost about $236,000 if we go out of state, and also look at the private. So the question is, what do we need to do? How much we need to save? Because if not, right, you look at that, pretty much by the time that they finish school, they already have a lot of debt, right? So the question is, how much do we need to save? Is $50 to $100 per month enough? Because you look at, if you have 18 years to save for school that costs about $106,000, right? That is public, okay? In state, you will need to save how much? Well, if you divide it by 18 years and 12 months every year, that's almost about $490, almost $500 per month. But if you can find a place where you can earn a little bit, you return maybe 2%, then you need to contribute about $416 per month. That's for 18 years, right? But if we can gain more, right, because it depends on where you put your money. If you put in a place where you can earn at 8% per year on the average, and we only need to put only less than that, half of that, which is about $237. So the question is where, right, that we get the most out of the investment is very important. Will you agree? Right? Because it's 400 is a lot, but if we can narrow it down to about 200, that may be affordable. So again, the question is where, because if not, if we don't prepare for that, guess what? Day one, right, our children will be in debt already. So don't let lack of knowledge, planning, or action leave our children digging out from the mountain of student debt when they graduate. Would you agree? Give them some head start. Better, right? For that, right? Here's a question again. Will you have to use your retirement to pay for college for your kid? That's not good either. See, a lot of my colleges, they use their home equity or their retirement plan and send their kid to school. But by the time that they retire, they don't have enough money for retirement, or their house haven't paid off yet. That's not a good position to be on. Would you agree with me? Right? So again, proper planning. And again, there are 3 ways to fund higher education. One is, of course, personal saving. The other one is what we call need-based financial aid. And based on the financial status, grants, work study, and student loans, right? Or merit-based financial aid, which is for those who have good schooling and a lot of school, or you have some athletic skill, and have special interest merit, you can get that, right? And then a lot of us probably familiarized with what we call a 529 plan, right? So what is a 529 plan? It's a plan that qualifies, right, tax advantage saving plan, especially to be used for higher education expense only, right? And then let's take a look. There's 2 types of plan on a 529 plan. One is they call a prepaid tuition plan, which is credit at a participating college or university, and you purchase at the current price for future tuition. And if the beneficiary doesn't attend that school, the plan may pay less. So sometimes we use what we call another plan they call educational saving plan. And this account holder open an investment account to save for future expenses, include room and board, right? In general, maybe used at any college, university, elementary or secondary schooling, right? So here is the effects of a 529 plan that you need to be aware of. First of all, contributions are not tax deductible on the federal level. Some state may offer some tax deduction, right? And check your state for restriction and requirement. The other one is withdrawal. It will, if not used for a qualified education expense, withdrawal will be subject to state, federal income tax, and a 10% federal tax penalty on the earning, because it's supposed to use for college, only, right? At the same time, it also impact the financial aid, because when you invest in a 529 plan, it will generate an impact, because guess what? If you have money saved up already, then on the financial aid, they say, hey, you don't need it because you already have money. So it also impacts us, penalize us for saving. Well, in addition to that, right, as is with any plan, be sure to understand its restriction and how it fits, right, to your overall strategy. It's very important, right? And there may be other options when saving for higher education, better suited for your situation. So again, by having the knowledge and understanding, we can have more options that more fit to each of our financial situation, right? And for that, let's take a look at financial aid, right? For higher education. Do you know how financial aid is calculated? Well, very simple. Most financial aid formula is based on the cost of attendance minus what is the expected family contribution, which is depend on the parent assets or income, right? And then whatever, that the need, the financial aid will be provided, right? So again, how do we control the cost of attendance? Well, we can't, because it depends on which school that we go. But we can control on the expect family contribution by arrange it, right, to make sure that we can be able to have our reallocate our assets, so that some of the interim assets need not to be reported to the FAFSA, right? So understand that can help our children to also have a better financial aid, right? So again, right, properly reduce your expect family contribution will increase your child need-based aid from the federal, right, which is when they fill out the FAFSA form for the state, private, and also college-owned resources, right? So in addition to that, right, along the way, if you get to a merit-based aid, right, which is there are millions of scholarships offered by companies, school, and organization in every category that you can think of. So the question is, can we prepare our children so that they can be able to acquire this, right? As long as they apply early, be proactive, and be sure to meet the certain requirement when they come to the GPA, like the SAT or ACT score, right? And of course, right, apply to a safe target and riches the type, right? And prepare in advance, because you cannot wait until the senior year about to go to college, then at that time, right, apply, because again, right, be proactive and be aggressive, right? In addition to that, whether you save money or not, the lack of proper planning can cost you more, right? And the lack of planning for 4 years sometimes can cost our children a lifetime, right? So make sure that properly prepare and plan is very important, right? And of course, let me see if and some of us who have children that are about to go to colleges, the quiz. So here's the quiz. What is the currently the highest SAT score possible? Right? Before, I think that is 24. I think right now is C, 1600. Okay. All right. So because they have two parts, when they take the SAT, then the maximum is 800 for each part. So the 1600 is the maximum score. It changed before, right? It was like 2400 during 2005 to 2015, but it's currently back to a maximum of 1600, right? So here, more, it's not only that, right? We be able to talk about funding, but the other thing is very important is preparation. Yes. Why? Because knowing what to do after high school is more than just paying for higher education, right? How many times that you see that, the child, because of not planning properly, they do not study the right career, right? And by the time they finish their career, right, there's no longer what you call, have a lot of demand, right? Also, so here is be able to prepare is very important. So here's a list of things that need to prepare for college, preparation. The FAFSA, right? And all the financial application, the administration, the admission application and essay, assessment, standard testing, letter of recommendation, transcript, and deciding which one, right? Is it public, private, local, or abroad, right? Visit the campus, knowing it, housing, transportation, and much more. Prepare ahead of time. And after all, right? What if they choose a different path, right? And then again, entrepreneurship, trade, militaries, right? Work right away. So again, preparation is very important. Will you agree? So did you know that, right? Right. For us, right? We're also working with a non-profit organization they call Heartland Financial Institute of Financial Education, that they will provide, right, a coaching for career and higher education planning program targeted you and your child, right? So that can put them on the right track. So if you need it, right, get with us so that we can be able to refer you to those to that particular organization to help your child, right, to get better, right. In addition to that, the other thing that I like to go over with you, which is I think we all want it, is just what are we be able to retire, properly. The question we'd like to ask you is, what do you want when you retire? Okay. Are you ready? Well, because it's when we come to retirement, make sure that you have enough emergency fund, right? Make sure that all debt are paid. Make sure that, hey, if you have young kid, college paid so that it's no longer a burden to you and your kid grow and you are independent and they become independent, right? So then we are ready to retire. Now, but again, here's the points I would like to make sure that we see clearly that, when you attend the other workshop, right? You'll be able to learn how to be able to calculate an emergency fund and retirement need, right? So again, you don't wait for these to happen before you strategize about retirement. And again, when we look at that from the holistic perspective, right? Today, let's take a look at what we call the three-legged stool, right? Which is most of the time that those are the sources of income that provide us for retirement. Okay, so remember, right? You talk about Social Security, we talk about personal saving, and we talk about company pension, right? So now take a look at Social Security first, which is we call government benefit, right? Since 1935, the federal government has offered, the one-man retirement benefit, which is Social Security, based on your income and the amount that you contribute during your working years, right? And again, the full retirement age depends on when you were born. You may receive Social Security as early as age 62 or as late as age 70. All right, but right now, I think only those that who born, as a baby boomer, then you can get retired at 66. I think anytime you're born after 1960, right, you will have to wait until 67 to receive the full, what I call full retirement, benefit. Okay, but let's look at that here. You can see the difference. If you retire early, what happened? You will not get the whole amount. You only get 75% of what you're supposed to get at full retirement age, right? Big difference. Will you agree? Let's say instead of 3,000, right, you only get 75%, which is 2,300 only, right? Or if you get 2,000 right now for full retirement, if you retire at 62, you want to take early, you only get 1,500 only per month. Big difference. But if you can wait, right, it would be much more. So you can see that at 70, right, you can get up to 132% of your full retirement. So again, by strategy, so that you can get to the right age, especially for those who are still working, right, it's very important so that we can maximize or optimize our also income from the Social Security. You agree? So again, right, you don't receive this benefit automatically. You must apply to them, right? So it's also very important that we need to apply for Social Security, right? But the question is again, will it be enough? Which is I doubt it, right? Because it's, again, right, what do you expect to receive? Of course, you can go and sign into the Social Security website, and you can, by looking at your past historical, taxes, right? They already kind of like calculated, right, how much you need, how much you will receive at a certain age when you retire. But the question is again, will Social Security provide enough for you? Unfortunately, Social Security wasn't designed to provide you all your retirement needs, right? And because of that, where is the other source? And that's the key, right? And again, let's look at what other investment vehicles are available so that it helps us, right, to be able to fulfill the other, in terms of income we need for retirement. Because when we look at the three-legged stool besides Social Security, what else do we have? We have the other they call company pension plan, which is only those who are lucky that you work that have that. I still remember when I worked as an engineer for an engineering firm 38 years ago, they do have it. But guess what? Any people coming in for the past 30 years, they cut out those pension plan. They only provide what we call a defined benefit, which is you contribute to that, like a 401k only. Okay, which is we elaborate you a little bit later. But companies, in terms of company pension, right? Here's how many of us are an employee right now. You work for a company that have a pension plan right now. I guess very few, right? But again, right, the company pension plan they call defined benefit plan, which is a traditional pension plan, right? It's paid by the employer. You don't need to contribute to that, right? The employer will contribute for you, right? And you will receive a certain set of payout by the time that you retire, as long you'll be able to fulfill all of the requirement, maybe 20, 30 years with a company at a certain age, right? And they will provide you a lifetime income. But it's very costly to the employer. And that's one of the reasons right now these days, most companies no longer carry out these plans, right? And of course, you have no control on that because it's not your money. It's up to the employer to contribute that to you, right? And of course, right, when you look at that, right, keep this in mind. That is how a defined benefit plan works. So we do a lot of another comparison when it comes to the other program, right? Which is, guess what? Most company right now, they shifted the responsibility, right, over the past few decades. Pensions are dramatically declined or have been eliminated altogether. The reason is because very clear. One is cost. The other one is responsibility, because it's up to the company to have responsibility. So they shift that responsibility to the employee, right? Defined benefit plan costly compared to defined contribution plan. Employer bear the responsibility for ensuring employee receive the benefit. So now, if it shifted your personal responsibility, then it's up to what? You put in the money, your personal saving, right? So Social Security going to be enough. Company pension are no longer be relied upon, right? The consumer must be responsible for their own financial security. Who's the consumer? We are, right? The question, are we prepared? Are we take control of that, right? So you can see here, when we talk about personal saving, let me go over with you a few of the investment that we can put it in. One of them is mutual fund. The other ones is 401k, 403b, right, 457 or TSP, or maybe an IRA, right, traditional, Roth, set and simple, and annuities and more. So we go over with you. So let's look at that. What is mutual fund? Well, of course, mutual fund is an investment that common people now commonly use right now, right? It's a vehicle where a pool of money is invested into a portfolio of various assets, right? And it by a fund manager, which is a professional manager that help to manage the fund, right? And here, right, the investor can purchase share of the fund, and then they partaking in the profit or loss. So if the market grow, by all means, you gain. Of course, after the fee for the fund manager, but if the market loss, we bear also the risk, right? And of course, they will diversify and put in different investment, right? Maybe in equity, maybe in stocks, maybe in mutual funds, maybe in bonds or money market, and many different, in terms of investment vehicle, depending on what we call the objective of the fund, right? And the content and risk of the portfolio is based on the fund objective, right? And again, in the mutual fund, you can see that it's very low investment. Yeah, you can put a very minimum contribution to that, maybe $50 a month or something like that. You can buy, right? So you can very easy entry to invest. You don't need a large amount of money to start. Number two, you can get in and out at a very relative ease, right? You can liquidate it. You can sell the mutual fund. They refund the money to you in maybe 2 or 3 days, right? Business day, right? Because they have to sell the funds, and then again, right? It's also help you to spread the risk, right, over many assets categories. So to help you minimum the loss. So it have what we call diversification. In addition to that, it be professionally money manager, research, select them, and monitor the performance of the fund purchase, right? So you see, those are the advantages of the fund. But again, mutual fund also have fees, expenses, and risk, which will be explained in a detailed document they call prospectus, right? So make sure that we know, right, what it is so that we can invest properly. And is it fit into our strategy or not? Mutual fund can be used for short-term and long-term, right? And again, we have to understand it, right? Now, we go back to a more retirement-focused, in terms of plan, defined contribution plan. And also, remember, we talked about defined benefit plan before, right? Which is what? A traditional pension plan. It's paid by the employer, right? It receives a set payout, right? Which is defined benefit, and it's very costly to employer, and you have no control, right? But now, because they shifted that retirement responsibility to you, so now you can contribute to that, like what they call defined contribution plan. It depends how much you invest into the program and where does it invest, right? It paid by you, and sometimes there's a company they match, right? But if you don't put money in, they don't match with you, right? I think most of the company, they match somewhere about 3% of your salary, right? Right. And at the same time, right, it depends on how your investment performance. You'll be able to receive the money for retirement in the future. In addition to that, investment responsibility and everything, right, on you, included all the fee that you have to pay. And you have more control, right? Because you are the one who put the money in, and so you can invest anywhere you want. And that's the difference between a defined benefit plan and defined contribution plan. And of course, all retirement plans are not created equal, right? So again, by having the knowledge, you'll be able to have more control. In addition to that, right, most of the people who are working for a regular company, the company probably offer what we call a 401k plan, which is a defined contribution plan, primarily employee funded by the pre-tax paycheck deduction, which is, I think it's convenient. And most of the time it's also good because they take the money out before you receive it on your paycheck. So you don't see it, you don't spend it, right? In addition to that, if you understand about the dollar cost average that we talked, a few in terms of workshop ago, right? You can be able to also minimize the risk due to the acquisition of share at a different interval, right? The employee is the one responsible. They choose how much to contribute, and the underlying investment, which is whatever, either a mutual fund or something that the plan can offer, right? 401k plan can lose value if the portfolio performs poorly. So again, we have to take the risk on that, right? In addition to that, right, sometimes, right, the company help you by match, whatever what they call contribution, right? So why do they have it that they call it, right, 401k plan? Because it's grow to 401k or the name for what 401j were taken. No, 401k is simply referred to the IRS tax code that govern them. All right, that's if you go to the IRS tax code. 401k is kind of like the tax code that government governs whatever the retirement plan that kind of like created by the employer, right? Same thing is a 403B, 457 or TSP, right? So again, 403B is what? It's available for employee of a tax exempt organization, like a school. So if you work for school, they offer you a 403B, or you work at the hospital, or maybe a religious organization, right? And of course, right, 457 is available for the state or local public employee. So let's say you work for the city of Houston, right? Or the police department in Houston, they have what we call 457, and to a certain non-profit organization. And of course, what is it? It's also an IRS tax code. That's how it is, a 403B or 57 tax code, right? And one more plan that normally only available to most United States government employee, they call the TSP, which is the Thrift Saving Plan. If you are a federal employee, you are civil service, you are uniform service, and civilian in a certain position that you work with a government service, they provide what we call a TSP. All right. So now you're familiar with most of kind of like plan that offer by company, but individually, we can also have what we call IRA, which is individual retirement arrangement. Right? It's simply what? A tax deferred, retirement saving tool that you as an individual can contribute to that. Right? And there are 7 different types of IRA. One is they call traditional IRA. The other ones they call Roth IRA, and the SEP IRA and simple IRA. And let me go over with you so you can see what is the difference, right, for each particular IRA. Right. So here, there's the difference between traditional IRA and Roth IRA is what? Because traditional IRA funded by pre-tax dollars, so you can deduct it from your income, right? But Roth IRA, you have to pay tax first. So it's after tax dollar that you put in the Roth IRA. There's a limit, right? Total for both of them, you can only put in $6,000, right, per year. And they give what I call a catch-up provision, which is if you're 50 years old and above, they give you an extra 1,000. So if 7,000 is the most that you can contribute for both of them. So if you already put $6,000 on traditional IRA, you cannot put any money on the Roth. But if you put only 3,000 on the traditional IRA, maybe you can put another 3,000 in the Roth IRA, as long as a combination not more than 6,000 or 7,000 if you're 50 years or older. Is that clear? So again, tax deduction on contribution on the traditional IRA, but also depend also on how much you make your income limit apply. All right. In addition to that, right, the Roth IRA, there is no tax deduction because it's after tax dollar. There is a required, they call minimum distribution. That means that, hey, you can put money in there, let it grow, but at a certain age, you have to take the money out to spend and pay tax for that, special for the traditional IRA, right, which is 72 years old. And at the same time, Roth IRA, you don't have to. You can keep it as long as you don't use it, or you can also transfer that, right, to your next generation, right? And they don't have to pay tax neither, right? And also on the earning, it's tax at withdrawal, everything, because the tax hasn't paid yet when you contribute. When they grow, it doesn't pay tax. So when you take it out, everything will be taxed at withdrawal. Versus Roth IRA is not taxed at all, unless you withdraw early, which is before 59 and a half or before 5 years in the program. All right. So again, understand the difference, right, between what we call tax deferred, because traditional IRA is tax deferred, but you have to pay taxes later. But Roth IRA is tax advantage. You may pay tax on the seed, but when you take the money out in the future, you never have to pay tax. And the question I would like to ask you, what do you think about tax in the future? Will it go up higher or lower? And if we understand that, I think we need to learn, right, how to maximize money so that we can put in a tax advantage so we don't have to worry if the tax is going up or not, right? And of course, on the other IRA, one they call SEP, and simple IRA is for small business, right? SEP IRA, the abbreviation is Simplified Employee Pension. It's used especially for business owner to provide retirement benefit for themselves and their employees, small business owners, right? And for simple IRA is what they call saving incentive match for employee. Is also an employer sponsor plan offered within a small business less than 100 employee. Small business may favor simple IRA because it's less expensive than the alternate to a 401k, right? In addition to that, right, what about the distribution? What happened when you take out distribution for these retirement plan, right? It depends again on your age. So let's take a look and hear what you see. Anytime of all these retirement plans, if you take it out, well, of course, when we contribute, it will also accumulate. But if you take the money out too early, prior to age 59 and a half, it will be taxed as ordinary income. In addition to that, you have to pay what they call 10% penalty for early withdrawal. All right, unless it is a disaster or maybe they have some exemption. But that again, in general, if you take it out too early, right, guess what? You be paid a penalty. So during the time from 59 and a half and 72, you now can take the distribution, but you have to pay it as what? As ordinary income, right? But after 72, there is a required minimum distribution. So that if you save up and your retirement plan can get up to maybe $500,000 and you don't use it, now it becomes $500,000 at age 72. At that time, right, you may have to take out, let's say, maybe 20, 30,000 a year. Because if you don't take that money out, guess what? They will penalize you. A 50% penalty if the required minimum distribution are not met. That's a big chunk of penalty, don't you think? So for that, right, it's very important that, during 59 and a half to 72, right, for only 12.5 years, you are able to control your money free from potential penalty, right? You should see that, only that short period of time. But after that, you have to take the money out by the law, which is required by the IRS. So let me give you one example, right? If you took $20,000 at the following age, how much would be penalty tax? The net amount be, assuming that a 30% tax bracket and the RMD, which is the required minimum distribution of $40,000. So here's again, if you take out $20,000 at age 50, which is below 59 and a half, right? What happened? You have to pay what? On that $20,000, you have to pay $2,000, which is 10% penalty plus tax, which is 30% on what? On the 20,000, right? In the penalty you pay, but you still have to pay tax on the whole amount, which is $20,000. Right, multiply 30%, which is 6,000. So the total tax that you had to pay, right, is almost $8,000 for that $20,000. So you can only bring home $12,000 on. Now, at the time that you retire, if you take out, $20,000, you don't have to pay the penalty. You only have to pay $6,000, which is 30% tax bracket, right? So you bring home about $14,000. But at 75, you're supposed to take 40,000, but you only take out 20,000. So guess what? They penalize 50% on the 20,000 you don't take out. So that 10%, right, which is 50% of the RMD penalty, plus what? plus also $6,000 tax on that 20,000. So guess what? You only take home $4,000 only. Oh my goodness. I hope that we need to. Hello?
Man, just one thing, your camera, we're only seeing the top part of your face. You might have to adjust your camera down a little bit.
Okay. I hope that you don't see my face. I hope that you see my my presentation. Okay, yeah, but let me go ahead and okay. Am I okay now?
Yes, that's better.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, because I'm focused more on the material rather than my face. Okay, it's all right. Okay, so here what you're looking at, right? And let me go back here. It's very important for us to understand this rule, the law. Otherwise, it's going to be a big for me, in terms of loss for us and for our family. Would you agree with me? Right now. Many of us also, right? Maybe we also, quit a company, or they may lay us off and you find another company. So here, if you have a change your job, right? And you have an old retirement plan, like a 401k just sitting there, what would you need to do? Well, for me, right, there is also another option that you can do. which they call a rollover. It's a transfer the assets from your retirement plan, right, to another plan, right, that compatible without incur any taxable event, right? So when you look at it here, all right, let's say from a 401k, you roll over to maybe an IRA, right, fund that maybe roll over, right? Hey, if you can roll over direct from the current administrator to another plan, they call direct rollover. But if you also withdraw the money and you put money in it, they call indirect rollover, right? But at the same time, right, by having proper rollover, there won't be any taxable, penalty to you, right? So having a financial professional help you to ensure that you do that correctly, right? The last thing that you want is what? A taxable event in your money when you don't want to pay tax at that time, right? And of course, here we have a chart, right, that share with you which one that you can roll over to from one plan to another plan, right? So you want to find out what you can do with your money, right? Get back with the financial professional, get back with us so we can be able to show you what is the option available so that we can be able to take advantage of what you consider some of the program that beneficial to us, right? So that we call rollover chart. And here is I like to, well, let's say that after I share with you all the information, maybe I ask you for a quiz, right? So here's a question. Which defined contribution plan are employees of public school, university, hospital, and a kind of like a non-profit organization with a 501c3 tax exempt organization eligible to participate? You think? Of course, the 403b, right? There you go. Right? Can an employee make contribution, right, to a SEP or simple IRA? Yes or no? Can an employee make contribution, right? This is a trick question. If a simple IRA, right, then guess what? The employee, right, cannot. If a SEP, they cannot make a contribution. Only simple IRA, the employee can contribute to that, right? Now, here's another question. Can you roll over a traditional IRA to a Roth IRA? Yes or no? Yes. But you have to pay tax, right, on the amount, right? So there's a lot of implication that you need to know, right? Can you roll over a SEP IRA to a simple IRA? No, you can't, all right? So now, here you need to keep in mind, when you roll over, here is the things we need to consider, all right? I just want to make sure that we see clearly, first of all, right, is the plan that you roll over still had the tax deferral so that you don't pay tax on the gain until when you take out for retirement only? Is the plan also have a lot more investment option? So give us more the flexibility when it comes to investment, right? In addition to that, what is the fee, right? Are we lower the fee, the cost? What good is it to roll over a plan that have more fee, right? In addition to that, right, do we have also better communication, better support from the plan administrator or maybe the agent who also be able to help you, right? The service, on the account, right? In addition to that, is it also maybe make it easy, right? We can consolidate it for what we call simplification, right? So again, right, how are you managing your assets is very important. Do you agree? Can you roll over your account to something more appropriate? We need to look at that. What is the options available so that we can control our money? It's your money that you need to control. You agree? And for that, right, one more plan that we also need to know what we call annuity. What is annuity? Well, as people are living longer, there is a greater need for a long-term solution because sometimes we outlive our retirement. Will you agree? So an annuity is an insurance product that helps to address the risk of outliving your money. Why life insurance help protect against premature death? Annuity can help protect against living too long. That's the key, right? So you look at that. Let's say if you give a large sum of money, like they call principal or like cow value to an insurance company, what happened? They can give you an exchange of zero payment, maybe a guarantee payment for a certain period or maybe for life, right? So the monthly check is determined by the size of your account, the interest in your life expectancy, right? So if you can be able to set up so that you can have a lifetime payment, it's just like a pension plan. So you can set up your own pension plan. And that's the key. The question is how the money grow. so that we can be able to get the most for our money. And how safe is it so that we don't place ourselves in too much risk, right? Very important, right? Now, so annuity, they have 3 types of annuities, right? And here you can see it different because why? A different investment, option. The first one they call fixed annuity. We will guarantee you a fixed rate of return. Currently, they probably give about 2 or 3% right now. Still much better than if you put it in a saving account or maybe a CD right now. Or for those who want to have a high return, right, you can put in what we call a variable annuity. But guess what? You also have to bear the risk. So the market go up, wonderful, because it's variable. When the market go down, you also make sure that you also, accept the risk, just like investment in mutual fund or in stocks, right? But if you can also use what we call an index annuity. With an index annuity, right, they are a kind of like a merge between fixed and variable. It gives you the safety, but they also give you the return like the market. But they have a flaw, which is you don't lose money. But when the market grow, like if you put in the SP 500, guess what? You can also have the growth when the SP 500. Maybe they give you a cap or percentage of that, but they also ensure that you don't lose money in the market loss, right? So it has the safety and the growth. Now, so which one that is the option for receiving benefit on the annuity? You can do what they call annuitization, which is the traditional method to pay out. It means that you convert and trade your annuity account into a regular payment that are designed to last for a specific period of time or the rest of your life. Let's say they call period certain, maybe 20 years, or lifetime payment until when you die. Or hey, if you have a spouse, maybe join a survivor. You pass away, your spouse will receive like whatever the payment, right? So it depends on how you design the program, okay? And also they have what they call income riders, which is an alternative method that may be available on a certain type of annuity. It gives you also lifetime income, right? But do so as your account value continue to grow. But most of the time, rider are available for additional fee, right? So why you take an income from the rider, account value can go right to your beneficiary, which should you pass away. So it's also be able to your for me distributed whatever you're left behind to your family, right? As a beneficiary. Okay. So here is some of the annuity question that I would like to ask you and see if you also see, right? So annuity designed to guarantee your income for life, true or false? Yes, right? Annuity designed to guarantee income for life. Different type of annuity are based on their growth option. Will you agree? True, right? Because you have what? The fixed, the index, on the variable, right? All right. You only have one option during your annuitization or payout phase. True or false? False, because you can have many options, right? So it's up to how you fit to your financial situation is the key, right? Depending on the type of annuity, an income rider option may be available as an alternate to annuitization. True or false? True, because that is also one way, right, that you can take the money out without annuitize, which is giving the money to the insurance company. Okay. Now, another method of investment, which is today we also want for you to familiar with, we call the cash value of life insurance. Okay. So again, life insurance is first and foremost a way to protect your assets and transfer your wealth, which is the death benefit. You create wealth, right? However, some policy can help build saving, potential grow the account value and make it accessible for you, right? Which is when you need it, while you're still alive. And there's a certain tax benefit if you know how to structure that properly, right? And at the same time, right, you can use one of the insurance type, like they call index, right, annuity, where you can credit in interest on your cash value model after an index. Let's say maybe S&P 500, and it has a minimum growth, and they also have a maximum growth, right? But you have no loss because the cash value you can be accessed through withdrawal or partial loan on a tax advantage basis, right? So if you attend workshop 3, you learn more about life insurance type, right, and the proper protection. Today we want to go over to see the benefit to use the money for maybe retirement beside the protection. Okay, so let me give you one example. So you can see right here, right in front of you, right, we have a person who are 30 years old, right? She put money, right, and she don't fund it minimum. She put it as also an investment. So she put in about $500 per month, into a policy, right, which she have $500,000 that benefit protection. So you can see right here, right, at $6,000 per year's income, per year contribution, right? Now, the death benefit is $500, but after all the costs of insurance and everything, hey, she still have about $4,000 in the cash value, right? And you can see right here, right, with the cash value, if she die, her family will have $500,000 plus her cash value. So, but now later on, she can use the cash value, right, in order for her as a investment, right? But if she don't use it, it go to her family. Now you can see that in this particular policy, there's also two value here. One they call policy value, the other one they call cash surrender value. Well, and you can see that, hey, that means that if the policy has been surrendered early, there may be a penalty. So we need to understand that. But as long as you stay in the program long enough, right, the penalty going down, so at one time, eventually it will equal to the policy value, right? And you can see right here, right? You look at right here, right? After 20 years, once you put money into this program, it's about 120,000 to put in together, right? So here, based on a 7.1%. Okay, let me go back here and show you so that you can see here, right? We're based on a 7.1% return on the average, right? And of course, the minimum rate is 0.75%. Okay, so market go up or down, doesn't matter. Minimum, if the market lost, we still get about 0.75%. If the market grow, we can grow with the market up to, in this case, 15%. But we use a 7.1% as a average return. Okay, so now you can see after 20 years, right? She put in about $120,000, right? And if the market lost every single year for the past 20 years, she will have 51,000. But that is never happened. You know, that's the end of the world. But based on the return of 7.1%, she would have almost about $165,000 in her cash value, which she can use maybe for college funding for her kid without paying tax, and still apply for the financial aid, or, you know, because it not considered as a reportable, you know, asset. But if she passed away, her family will have $500,000 plus $165,000. Now, going further on, you can see that after 35 years, right, she'll be able to put in altogether $210,000. But at the same time, the account value will grow up to almost $500,000. And her life insurance now is more than $1.1 million if she passes away. But now she can use that $517,000 as a supplement income for her retirement, right? And you can see that, you know, and further on, you can see that here, right? Even though she don't put any money coming in, the money still continue to grow. And of course, the death benefit now also find it plus is whatever the investment grow. And it's up to age almost 121 if she alive. This is incredible, right? But again, right, by utilize this program, I want you to look at it just carefully when it comes tax. Where is your money at? Okay, you make money, most of the time they tax you, isn't that right? Now, you spend money, you also have to pay tax on the sale tax. Now, you save money, well, they also tax you. And when you die, guess what? They still tax you. So here's a question, right? And of course, there's a Mr. Benjamin Franklin, you know, our founding father also say that nothing can be said to be certain except what? Death and tax. So what should we do? Right, very simple, right? Remember, right, the wealth formula that we talk about when it comes to building wealth. What do we need? Right? We need to make sure that we understand what is our enemy, which is taxation. Right? We can better understand tax and potentially what? Minimize its impact on our financial future is very important. Will you agree with me? And for that, right, let me go ahead and ask you, where you put your money right now? Let's take a look. There's 3 categories right now, right? Like wherever you put money, there will be a different tax treatment. right? If you have money in this particular first column, anytime you have any realized gain at the end of the year, you will receive a 1099, either interest, 1099 dividend, or 1099 whatever, right? And you have to pay tax for that. Unless you put in a retirement plan, which is this particular column. But with this, when you retire, when you take the money out, right, you have to pay tax, right? And if you take it out too early, you may be penalized, and you take out too late, they may penalize you. But if you be able to put money in this program, we call tax advantage program, which is Roth IRA, 529, municipal bond, life insurance, health saving account, and long-term care benefit. Guess what? When you take the money out in the future, you will not have to pay tax. So again, where your money at? Let's say if you have $1 million right now, where do you put your money? Are you going to put it everything in one portion, or you spread it out, right? So that you can reduce the impact, the tax, of the tax. So here's the 4 vehicle of building wealth. If you have a 401k, or you put money in an annuity, or you put money in a Roth IRA, or you can put money in a life insurance. And let's see some of the pro and con for each, right? Of course, right? Roth and life insurance, not tax deductible. So 401k and annuity, you put it right, it's tax deductible, right? It requires minimum distribution for the retirement plan, but no required minimum distribution on these 2 programs. Grow, tax deferred, right? And an annuity, it also tax deferred. But guess what? All of them is tax deferred, right? But here's the key: tax-free upon withdrawal is a very important for Roth, and also the tax advantage you have with the life insurance, right? In addition to that, who can own this? Individual, right? For 401k, for annuity, it could be individual or corporation, right? So it's a life insurance. It can also owned by individual or corporation. So let's say if you have a company, you can set up a lot of plan, not only for you, but also for maybe some of the key people, or maybe the executive, right? But Roth, only individual. And accessibility, of course, you can cash out, or you can borrow against it. For Roth, you can cash out, but for life insurance, you can cash out, you can borrow against it. And also contribution limit. For 1K, yes. Annuity, no. Roth IRA, yes. And life insurance depend on how big the policy. So again, the question I have is, if you have $1 million, where would I want my money in? So at the end of the day, right, I hope that what I share with you is different type of investment vehicle. Which one is the best? I would say every program is good, but it depends on each of us, right? So in summary, keep in mind, right, providing these big financial goals may come from different sources, right? Hey, higher education, personal saving, need-based, right? Marriage for college costs, right? Or pension plan, 401k, Social Security, IRA for your retirement, right? And so what is your strategy to get there? For taking distribution, and when? And how you maximize your benefit is the key. So it boils down to always be learning, understanding, and consistency, right? Consistently reevaluate your finance, right? In order for us to get to our goal, we need to make sure that, hey, we're on track. So make sure to reevaluate it, right? So here, I want to share with you some of the kind of like your testimony from some of the people that we work with. The workshop, this is from Sri Lanka, Lodi, right? The workshop changed my mindset and attitude toward money. With help from WSB, we created personal strategy and found out I was behind in my retirement goal and grossly underprotected. The education and support truly changed my life and saved my family. Just 3 years later, I am proud to say that I am on my way to building a strong financial future for my family. I not only have found a home for myself, but also a future career for my son. And even more than that, I am proud to have the ability to share the education and possible life-changing opportunity with everyone. So only you can take the step necessary for your future. One of the greatest miracles is that you can change your life simply by changing the way you think. And with that, I really appreciate that we have time spent together. So connect to the person who invite you, get back with us, get back with Nari, and of course go. And if you need help with anything that relate to finance, we're more than happy, or go to find someone that you can trust to help them. But we want you to be part of the 30 million family financial educated. Right. In addition to that, join our campaign and bring someone else, right, to this workshop. Right. Beside workshop today, right, you can see that, right, we have building, saving, and wealth. We have increased cash flow management, that which you already have a chance to experience to our, what we be able to provide you for the past few weeks. Prepare with proper protection, your health and wealth. And of course, just like the last workshop, we talk about understanding assets accumulation and strategy. And for that, I work with a financial professional to help you to improve your financial strategy and put your financial house in order, please. All right. So let me go ahead and stop from here. All right. And I want to change the baton back to Ms. Nari. So if we can have some, maybe, I know that it's a bit long session, right? But I hope that information give you a quick kind of like overview that, and then of course, if we can have maybe a quick Q&A, right, so that we can also be able to get everybody's on the same page, right? Go ahead, Nari.
Thank you so much, man, for that presentation. Does anyone need any clarification or have any questions before we proceed? All right, and for your benefit as well, as I promised, I put the link for the workshops in the chat. So if there's anyone who wants to view this again at any time in the future, you can do so. I said we're not going to be done anytime soon. We're trying to get to 30 million families by the year 2030. So we'll be doing them live Monday to Friday in the near foreseeable future. So if it is that you want to see it again or need any clarification, feel free to do so. And I think that brings us to the end of our 6-week series of workshops. I do hope that it did benefit you, that you have picked up some bits of information that you can implement and build your financial foundation. And hopefully, if not, that it at least reassured you that you are doing the right thing and that you're on the right path. All right. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me afterwards. It's not a problem, or find a financial advisor or someone who is financially savvy who can assist you.
Matter of fact, you can get with Pastor Glenn. So he can also give you some direction besides just the spiritual guidance. All right. I'm really happy that just like Pastor Glenn mentioned, that he's also have a lot of experience when it comes to planning, right? And then of course, right, with the knowledge, with the understanding, and with the proper guidance, we can find the right implementation. Because it's until we be able to utilize the knowledge, knowledge is not really have any value. We need to make sure that we put it to work, right?
Well, let me just say on behalf of the church, man, we appreciate you. Each week you have brought us a well of knowledge. We appreciate you taking out your time, your knowledge, and sharing with us. I certainly think that in the first week or two in December, we need to do a recap where we can do it while this information soak in, questions arise, and we can do a Q&A. So I want to thank you, man, for from the Bellfort Church of Christ, for your time and your knowledge. Thank you so much, Nari, for introducing us. We really, really appreciate it. And we do want you to know that we'll certainly be getting back with you second week in December to continue our financial knowledge. Thanks again.
It's our pleasure and our privilege is also to have a chance to share with the congregation and you, Pastor Glenn. And I'm blessed. And please bless us, all of us.
Thank you so much. Well, now may the grace of God and sweet communion continue to rest, rule, and abide with each and every one of us till we meet again. Let all of the children of God collectively say amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Have a blessed day. Thank you. And looking forward for you probably maybe early in the week of December. All right.
Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your night.
You too. Thank you.
You're welcome.